tháo đây. Đưa tay à? Mình thấy rồi.
Không sao đâu ạ. Anh ơi, về đấy nào.
Đi vào. Em không nhìn thấy gì em nhìn thấy nào.
At 3:26 p.m. plus 07 on Thursday, May 22, 2025, the sun cast a warm golden hue over a serene Vietnamese village, its light filtering through the wooden houses and sprawling green fields. The faint hum of a construction site reverberated in the distance, where Lu Xuan Truong, a compassionate and dedicated engineer, stood amidst a group of workers clad in green uniforms. His thoughts, however, were far from the blueprints and materials surrounding him. Today marked a pivotal moment in his life. He had resolved to offer his deepest token of love to Tieu, the woman who had captured his heart. Nestled in his pocket was a small golden box, safeguarding a ring he had saved for years, a tangible symbol of his unwavering devotion. Nearby, a muddy jeep rumbled past a weathered bamboo fence, kicking up clouds of dust as workers hauled timber and cement bags under the fading daylight. With a trembling hand, Truong pulled out a piece of paper and began to write a letter, his words laden with emotion and resolve. "Tieu knew then, men, when you read this, your eyes might shine again," he wrote, his mind haunted by the recent break-in at her home that had left her vulnerable in her blindness. His irregular work schedule gnawed at his conscience. He couldn't always be there to protect her. "If no donor is found, I'll give her my corneas," he decided, his voice a hushed whisper against the cacophony of hammers and shouts at the site. Stepping away from the bustling crew, he dialed a trusted friend, seeking a moment of solace amidst his inner turmoil. "You're at the site, right? I'm here too. I'll come by later. I've got something important to share." "Okay?" The friend's voice crackled through the line. "Sure, finish your work. See you soon." Truong nodded. "I'll be there, take care." Returning to his letter, he poured out his fears for Tieu Nu and her young son Due, who relied so heavily on his mother's care. "I'll step away if I must so I don't become a burden," he wrote, entrusting his friend with her future well-being. A worker nearby, adjusting his hard hat, overheard and whispered to a companion, "He's giving his eyes? What about his own life?" Truong's faith remained unshaken. "God will light my path," he murmured, folding the letter with care. He handed the golden box to his friend, his voice firm yet tender. "Give this to Tieu Nu when her sight returns. Don't tell her it's me. Say it's a gift from a stranger." The friend nodded solemnly, pocketing the box as the jeep's engine faded into the distance, leaving behind a trail of dust that shimmered in the evening light. The construction site was a hive of activity, with workers in green uniforms weaving through piles of timber and steel, their voices blending with the rhythmic clanging of tools. A muddy jeep stood parked near a sturdy bamboo fence, its tires caked with the day's labor. Truong lingered near a stack of cement bags, the golden box a constant reminder of his purpose. His letter lay finished on a makeshift table of wooden planks, its words a testament to his selfless love. I can't bear your pain, Tieu. Your joy is my joy, even if it costs my sight and career. He thought of Tieu, so small and innocent, his laughter echoing in Truong's memory. Who will guide him if she can't see? He whispered, his resolve deepening with every heartbeat. The weight of his decision pressed down on him, but the thought of Tieu's safety propelled him forward. A colleague approached, wiping sweat from his brow, his expression one of concern. You've been distracted all day, Truong. What's troubling you? Taking a deep breath, Truong revealed his plan, his voice steady despite the gravity of his words. I'm donating my corneas to Tieu if no donor is found. The friend's eyes widened in shock. Your career? Your life? How will you manage? Truong's gaze was resolute. Her safety outweighs everything. I've thought it through. Her happiness is worth more than my own future. The friend shook his head. You're too young for such a sacrifice. What about your dreams? Truong smiled faintly. My dreams are tied to her well-being. If she can't see, she's in danger, and I can't live with that fear. The friend pressed further. Have you told your mom? She deserves to know. Truong's expression softened. She's abroad on a project. I won't burden her with this. She'd only worry, and it would affect her work. He handed over the golden box, his fingers lingering on its smooth surface as if reluctant to let go. Pass this to Tieu when her sight returns. Keep my secret. Tell her it's from a stranger. I don't want her to feel guilt or obligation. The friend accepted the box with a solemn nod. I'll honor your wish, Truong. But are you sure about this path? Truong nodded. I've never been more certain. Her happiness is my peace. Inside a modest wooden house nestled among vibrant green fields, Tieu stood at the sink, her hands trembling as she tackled a pile of dishes. The fading light of the day filtered through a small window, casting soft shadows on the wooden walls. Her vision, already a haze, deteriorated further with each passing moment, forcing her to rely on touch to navigate the familiar task. Her fingers brushed against a knife, and in her blindness it slipped, slicing into her palm. She gasped, "I'm so useless," her voice trembling with frustration. Blood dripped onto the counter, staining the worn wood as she fumbled for a cloth, her heart racing with a mix of pain and helplessness. The quiet of the house amplified her struggle, the only sound the drip of water from the faucet and her stifled sobs. Just then Truong arrived, his green uniform streaked with dust from the construction site, his boots leaving faint prints on the wooden floor. He had come straight from the site, his heart heavy with the weight of his decision but lifted by the thought of seeing her. Spotting her distress, he rushed to her side, his voice filled with concern. "Tieu, what happened?" She winced, her voice small. "I cut my hand, it's nothing." He gently guided her to a wooden chair near the table, his touch steady and reassuring. "Sit here. Let me take care of it." He knelt beside her, his eyes scanning her face for signs of pain, his heart aching at her vulnerability. He turned on the faucet, the sound of running water a soft comfort in the tense moment, and carefully rinsed her wound, the water mixing with blood and swirling down the drain. "Does it hurt much?" he asked, his voice soft and filled with care. She shook her head, her eyes unfocused. "Just a scratch. I can't see well, so I tried to stay busy. Sitting idle makes me feel so useless." He wrapped her hand in a clean bandage, his movements deliberate and gentle, ensuring the cloth was secure. "Don't do this alone again, leave these tasks to me," he said, pulling up a stool to sit beside her, his presence a quiet anchor in her storm. She managed a weak smile, her voice tinged with gratitude. "You're not working today?" He chuckled softly, the sound warm in the small room. "No, I took the day off. I've got good news. Someone's donated corneas for you." Her face lit up, a spark of hope igniting in her expression. "Really? That's a miracle." He nodded, his hand resting on hers. "My friend found a match. We'll arrange surgery soon, possibly tomorrow." She grasped his hand tightly, her voice trembling with emotion. "Will the money from Mom be enough?" He squeezed her hand reassuringly. "Yes, don't worry, it'll be fine. Everything will work out, I promise." Joy danced in her voice, a melody of hope that filled the room. "When I can see, I'll look at you first. I've missed your face for weeks. It's been so long since I could see you clearly." Truong's heart clenched, the weight of his secret pressing down on him like a stone. He knew that her joy came at the cost of his own sight, a truth he couldn't yet share. "I'll take you to thank my friend," he promised, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. She beamed, her smile radiant even in her blindness. "Then I'll work, earn money for Due and you. I'll buy gifts, take care of us all. I can't wait to be useful again." He smiled, though his eyes betrayed a flicker of sadness. "Rest now, Tieu knew. I'll finish the dishes for you." As he scrubbed the remaining plates, the clink of porcelain a soothing rhythm, she listened to his steady movements, her heart swelling with gratitude. "You've done so much for me, thank you," she said, her voice soft but sincere. He paused, turning to her with a gentle smile. "Take care of yourself and Due when you're better. Don't push yourself too hard, okay?" She nodded, her expression earnest. "I will, I promise." Outside, a black dog barked near the bamboo fence, its silhouette a quiet guardian in the fading light, a reminder of the village's simple, enduring life. Truong's mind churned with the enormity of his impending sacrifice, but her happiness, her hope, anchored him in the moment, their bond growing ever stronger with each shared word and gesture.
next year with a joyful smile. What a contrast to how I was. Phyllis had been so open with me. I felt encouraged her to ask her, did you ever feel like you were just waiting to die? I don't mean to I don't mean to die. I just mean feeling like all you were doing was going through the motions with no filter and no purpose. Um, she emphatically stated, no, no, never. I must have looked incredulous because she shared the following story. When she was a little girl, her family lived in Java, where her dad was an executive with Shell Oil. One day, Japanese soldiers came to the door and took her dad away with a